sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Derek's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fantasy Sports and Politics. It's me, Mr. FSP, doing what I do because I do it for you. Whenever I am not sick, I got to change my saying. But I normally say I'm doing it for you. Hold on. Doing it for you. Whatever. I'm old. Forgive me. But normally I'm here. Last week, I just wasn't feeling it. I was going to do it, but then I changed my mind. I just wasn't feeling it. But this week, I am back better than ever with my interpretation of what happened in the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. If you didn't know, I'm a Commanders fan. Born and raised in D.C., so I grew up a Redskin fan, a Washington Football Club, whatever we were called. And I'm going to tell you, I really thought we were going to win that game. I was delighted that we got to that point with a rookie quarterback, resurgent coach, new defensive coordinator, a supposedly washed up head coach as a offensive coordinator, a lot of veterans on defense, but Austin Eckler and Biotish, along with Terry McLaurin, being the only real certified vets. Now we have players on the team that were veterans in the NFL, but not stars or not key components at their positions on offense. Zach Ertz turned out to be a very significant part of the team. When he was in Philly and then Arizona, he was part of the team. He was vital, but he wasn't a focal point. And he turned out to be that for young Jaden Daniels. But when I look at that defense, we're going to talk about it. I got sidetracked. Anyway, we're going to talk about the NFC, AFC Championship games. I'm also going to discuss who I believe should be comeback player of the year, rookie of the year, offense and defense, MVP of the league. And I don't know this. I mean, I know there is a difference, but MVP of the league versus, I guess, offensive MVP of the league, I don't really know. I got to look at the actual title of the award. But this is happening February 6th, NFL Honors, Thursday night on NFL Network. Now, the voting ended after week 18. So anything that happened in the playoffs doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Even though some of the play in the playoffs showed you who really should be, in my opinion, rookie defensive player of the year. I'm sure Jared Verse won it by the way people were hanging on to his coattails going to the playoffs. I'm going to start there before I do the breakdown. No. Let me go to the breakdown first. Here's what I'm going to tell you. The AFC Championship game that everybody was hoping would end differently could have. 3 minutes and 33 seconds could have taken that game to overtime or outright win for the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to be the first to tell you, I did not give Buffalo a single shot at the beginning of the season. Not one. Not one. I had them finishing just above New England, behind Miami and the Jets. Well, the Jets and Miami. Tua's concussion situation really jacked up that prediction. It really did. But looking at what Buffalo did and losing Matt Milano, a key figure on their defense, their middle linebacker, their captain. Beating Detroit, beating Kansas City, and looking really, really good without a dominant wide receiver. Shakir was great. He was. They wasted a pick on trading for Amari Cooper. If you notice, Amari Cooper did not start after 2 games being traded to Buffalo. He was the number 3 or number 4 receiver after the trade. Incredible. Amari Cooper, he's a name at this point. He is a name. Dalton Kincaid, he was there, but he wasn't the dominant factor that we thought he would be. But look who was. James Cook. The running backs, honestly, in Buffalo. And what I'm going to tell you is the heroes and the reason why things are better in Buffalo or were better and their window isn't quite closed yet, the play of the offensive line. Period. We can talk about Josh. We can talk about, Cook. But that offensive line stood up this year. Absolutely stood up this year. Took them to that point. Now, in that last play, because I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest about what I saw. I saw a little bit, not as much, but I did see a little bit of home cooking in Buffalo. I mean, in Kansas City, in that championship game, just a little, not as much as I've seen in the past. But to the refs' credit, Josh Allen and company had the game ready for the taking. Now, I do not understand how on the last play, offensive play for Buffalo, that defensive line goes through, I just got finished talking about it, that vaunted offensive line like Swiss cheese on fourth down, no less. Regardless of that, Dalton Kincaid, remember I said he was good, but he wasn't that guy, had the ball hit his forearms. And that was it. Lights out, game over. So I'm not going to sit here and say, the refs gave it to Kansas City. I'm not going to go to the conspiracy. Well, I am after I say this. I really am after this. It was a very tough game. Very tough game. How you allow Travis Kelce to just get booty butt naked wide open all game and get another 100-yard performance, I can tell you why. Hamlin could not cover him. Great story for DeMar. He is a comeback player candidate. He should have won last year, but they're probably going to give it to him this year. I don't know, but we'll talk about it. You can't cover him. There's no Justin Poyer. Matt Milano was on Pacheco or whoever the running back was. And by the way, they couldn't stop Pacheco when they needed to. They did a good job during the game, but when it counted, you got to remember, cold weather. You beat on something for 3 hours. When the time comes, is that body still able to absorb or deliver the type of punishment needed to stop a player from getting that first down? It wasn't. It wasn't. So in all honesty, Kansas City earned their victory. Think about this. All year long, Kansas City went 15-2, right? That last game, we're not going to really count because, well, we are, but legit, they didn't have a dominant season. For a team to go 15-2 and not have dominant wins until the playoffs, scary. Hollywood Brown, Hopkins, Worthy, who stepped up. Kelsey's back. Hunt. Pacheco. And of course, Pat. We're not even talking about the defense. Because Spags' defense did well, but not a dominant defensive performance. Now, he blitzed like crazy. But he's not. I'll put it this way. Spags is a very good strategy coach, but if the players aren't there, you're not going to do it. Karlaftis, who I thought was going to have a really good game, along with Chris Jones. Chris Jones had a really good game because he stopped the 4th and 1 I'm not going to get into that because I really think they stopped him, even though, Bills fans were like, well, no, he had it. And then they pulled it back, but then he gave him a bad spot. Nah, they stopped him. I think McDuffie, and they had defensive linemen, corners and safeties going down during that game. It's not just Buffalo who had to deal with the pounding. Kansas City did too, because James Cook was cooking. And the one thing Josh Allen did that he shouldn't have done, but I understand why he did it, because there wasn't another play to be had on the 2-point conversion. But he threw it backwards when he was getting stopped. Luckily, Kansas City did not pick it up and take it back for their 2. But wow. If this offensive line comes back in the way that they played this year, I think Buffalo's window is still open. But I think it's going to be threatened if Harbaugh with the Chargers gets a receiver that can catch. They already run the ball hard. They already have a great defense that's full of great talent, I should say. But we don't have receivers and a tight end that can catch. You're really one-dimensional. But you got a quarterback that's legit, a legit top-tier quarterback. I don't know. As long as Lamar is in Baltimore, they're going to be a problem. Now, with Justin Tucker's thing, you've seen what happened to Watson, right? You claim you didn't have anything to do with it, with those types of things. In fact, the allegations come out like the same week you get engaged. Coincidence? I don't know. But there was a problem with your kicking this year, and it bled into the playoffs, and you're a mainstay in Buffalo. In Baltimore. I don't know if you're going to be that in the coming years, especially with these situations. Now, Baltimore's going to stick beside you. I don't know when your contract's up. Players are going to stick beside you. The freaking fans will stick beside you until evidence comes out. And here's the thing. Both players had high character throughout their careers, Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker. If these are true allegations, I'm sorry. That's I don't care how good your leg is. I don't care how many good things you're into that I approve of or like. But bro, no. Why don't y'all, and Tucker did it. He's getting married. Hopefully. Take these ladies with you. One lady. Maybe even 2. One for each coast. One goes to the Mason-Dixon line on either side with you to provide you these massages. My guy, I can understand you getting the massages on your legs. I can understand because that's your job. That's how you make your money. And I'm not going to say it because I almost said it. And then I thought about it. You're not going to get me. You're not going to get me. Having a weapon of a leg is one of the most important things that you as a kicker need to have. And the maintenance of that, I understand spending the money. I understand getting the massages. But if the other legs start acting different, bro, think about it. Let it go. Now, if it comes out that the young lady or ladies, because more allegations came out today, decided to touch those areas without your requesting, it's a money grab. But I can't say it is. I cannot and will not say it is because I don't know. We got to see. But the AFC is dominant. It went chalk for the playoffs. No upsets. Kansas City's the number 1 seed. They're in the Super Bowl. And I'm going to talk about this Super Bowl. Have y'all noticed how they don't show the red with the green, what is it, 58, 59 lettering for the Mardi Gras and all that? Y'all notice how they stopped showing that after Philly beat Washington? They don't show that logo anymore. I could be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not trying to be. But for years, we have said the color of the Super Bowl logo will determine what teams are going. And they have. All I can say is all right, let me do this. Because I already got the jersey on of this person. Salute the service time. I have a Washington Commanders. Oh, I can't even wear it throughout. Yeah, I can. Just got to stay still. Let me see. Washington Commanders, Terry McLaurin. Salute the service. Helmet on. Can you guys see this? There it is. And I'm going to talk about my team wearing this helmet. I was worried to death about facing Philly. I'm not making it up. I'm telling the truth. I was worried. I did not want to face Philadelphia as the first game in the playoffs because I knew it would be a problem. And a problem it was. We came out, controlled the clock, controlled the ball, got 3 points. And then Saquon ran. And ran. But the strange things about it was we kept fumbling the ball. Not interceptions, not anything on Jaden's part. Kickoff return. Diomi fumbling. Austin Eckler fumbling. It was tough. I'm going to bring in a person who apparently was sick, but now it looks like he's outdoors. So I'm going to bring him in. Maybe he's trying to get some air so he don't die. I don't know. Oh, no. He's outside. Okay. That's the I thought it was outside. It's bricks from a fireplace, I guess. Mr. Taylor.
What's up?
Welcome to the show.
What's up? Why are you in a helmet?
If you were listening, you would know.
Well, I just jumped on the show. Obviously, I wasn't listening. Come on, man.
I mean, you
Really?
were in the green room for about 2 minutes, and I've been talking about why I put it on.
Well, whatever. Anyway.
So, I'm already broke down the AFC Championship game, and I was getting into the Washington and Philly game.
That was a debacle.
And I was speaking on how for the first quarter, first drive, Washington came out. They looked dominant. They did everything they were supposed to do. They got points. But then Saquon, one play, ran for a touchdown, and then it became fumble, fumble, fumble. And Philadelphia capitalized on every opportunity. It wasn't the play of the quarterback. It wasn't the play of the defense because they were doing their job. They just kept getting put on the field. And I said, this was one of the reasons why I did not want to play Philadelphia first going into the playoffs in fear of a performance like Washington provided. But Washington went to Detroit. Well, first, they went to Tampa and beat them. They went to Detroit, number 1 seed, another 15-2 team, and, handled them. And then you're thinking, as a Washingtonian and a Commander fan, okay, Jalen Hurts is hurt. Saquon got a banged up left hand, so let's target it. A.J. Brown's reading self-help books on the sideline. We got Lattimore, who can be a problem for the number 1 receiver. And anything in there's hope. But what happened was Washington played more zone against AJ, and Philly did the right thing. After, I'm going to say, the first half, they made sure AJ was on the rookie, who's going to be a dog in years to come. Sammerstill, and AJ ate him up. He ate him up. I'm not surprised that Washington lost, but I'm surprised at how much they lost by in the performance of non-ball security. This is one of the reasons why I was, during the game, when I kept seeing these fumbles by Brown and the kickoff and this, that, and the third, I was like, man, I want T. Higgins bad. I want Garrett bad. And I didn't even think about it. But DK Metcalf is out there. Debo's out there for trade. Give me somebody on the opposite side of Terry, Scary Terry, again, Terry McLaurin, who is going to perform when the pressure's on. Because, Austin Eckler's fumble, all right, he got up and, he got punched out. All of the fumbles were punch-outs. They were punch-outs. But you got to protect the ball. That's the name of the game. And Philadelphia did an excellent job of punching the ball out, of capitalizing on mistakes, and, giving the ball to Saquon and still throwing the ball, which was, Washington was number 30 in run defense, middle of the pack, I believe, in pass defense. But it improved. And, things happen. Philadelphia played an excellent game, and now they're headed to the Super Bowl. And I don't know if you heard me. I don't think you did, because I was talking about the Commanders when we were in the green room. The NFL Super Bowl logo of all red and green Mardi Gras-like symbols for the numbering continues the conspiracy theory of is it rigged? With that being said, former head of officiating Dean Blandino's brother said on Sirius XM this week that the NFL is rigged and his brother knew about it, signed an NDA, and that's part of the reason why he's no longer the head of officials. Like I said when I started the show, I'm not going to speak about conspiracies, but if you notice, they're no longer showing that version of the Super Bowl logo. It's no longer the red chief color background with the Philadelphia green like Mardi Gras symbols on the lettering.
Okay.
Just,
To me, that's
they're showing a different version of that logo now.
To me, that's irrelevant. Anytime, just this is, to me, this is ridiculous. Okay, for the simple fact is, anytime there is a dominant team that continuously wins, there's always a conspiracy theory saying that everything is leaning toward them. Their advantage is because of this. Their advantage is because of that. Not because they're a good team, but because they have outside forces helping them. Come on, man. Really? Really? They said this about the New England Patriots, and now it's transitioned to the Kansas City Chiefs. Really? It's not just that they're that good. It's not because they take advantage of other teams' mistakes and know how to play the game and know how to win the game. It's not that. They get help. Come on. This needs to stop because it's going to continue as long as people perpetuate it. I'm not one to perpetuate a conspiracy theory that they want the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl over and over and over again. The advantage, in my opinion, is in, and I'll say it like this, it may not be the best choice of words, is in diversity. When I say that is when you have multiple teams going to the championship, different teams going to the championship, regardless of who it is, and different teams winning the championship, you have more interest because now you don't know who's going to win it. Okay? Now you know who now you know that there's different players in there or the same players or whatever, but now you don't know who's going to win it. Okay? So when you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and they get there 3 times, I talked about this last year. I said they were going to come back because they're the type of team that knows how to win. And Andy Reid is the type of type of coach with that quarterback that knows how to get up and get the team up and prepared for these type of games.
Jerry, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. The reason why I'm stopping you is because when we gave our Super Bowl predictions, that is not what you did. I'm the only one that said Kansas City was going to three-peat. You said, I don't know about that. I can play it right now. Play it right now. So don't sit here and say you predicted that because that's not what you said.
Oh, but wow. Okay,
that's not what you said.
You think if you think that, then I don't know what you're listening to, but whatever.
You know what? Let me look up the video right now so I can go ahead and play it for everybody.
Kansas City's coming back. I absolutely said
they were going to the Super Bowl. You did not say that. Now,
okay.
If you're saying that Kansas City's going to come back and be a strong team, okay. But you did not say Kansas City was winning the Super Bowl this year.
Have at it. I know what I said. Have at it.
I'm gonna let you finish your statement. Go ahead. I just wanted to stop you because I got the video to prove that that's not what you said. But go ahead, because Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, this always happens when, regardless of what sport it is,
Let me look this video up.
football, basketball, they said it's about Jordan teams. They said it's about Jordan teams. They said it about in the baseball when a certain team was dominating. They said about that. Come on, man. Really? It's not that they're good. It's good and they're getting some help. Come on. Really? The margin of error is very small. When you get to the top or near the top, both teams are basically equal. What happens is if one team happens to turn the ball over more than the other, Buffalo Bills, it's going to be advantage. Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
Hold on. I just realized something. Why am I letting you talk about this? I spent 30 minutes on Kansas City. We're talking about Philadelphia and Washington. But I let you get your rocks off. But that's not the subject matter. The subject matter is
when I'm okay, it relates to the same thing. When you have two teams that are basically the same, you cannot turn the ball over. Plain and simple.
I agree.
Plain and simple. Because that naturally that only makes sense. That gives an advantage to the other team. And if you turn it over 4 times, that's 4 times the amount of opportunities that the other team gets to take advantage of that. And obviously, 55-23, they took advantage of it. Obviously. So, anytime a team plays in a big game and one team turns it over more than the other, most times, and the only reason I'm saying that because Detroit turned it over 5 times, still won the game. But that was in the regular season. Most times, the team that turns the ball over the most loses. So that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
and Washington, outside of their quarterback, didn't in my opinion, didn't come to play. Didn't come to play. Did not come to play.
Did not come to play. So here's the thing. It was close up until halftime, right? But the fumbles caused the big change and everything, right? So when you say they didn't come to play,
what
do you mean they didn't come to? Who didn't come to play? Because that defense was balling.
Ask you this: how many minutes is in a football game?
60.
You're talking about halftime. That's 30 minutes. How many minutes are in a football game? 60 minutes. They didn't come to play.
Jerry.
They didn't come to play.
Again, okay. It's your opinion. I'm not going to debate your opinion no matter how false I feel it is because fumbles happen. I described how the fumbles. It wasn't like the quarterback threw interceptions. It wasn't like the players were just like, "Oh, here, take the ball." The defense came and punched the ball. So when you say stuff like that, that is just not true.
To what I just said, I said
come to play. That you said they come to play, and I said that until halftime. It was a close game.
This is what I said. I said the team outside the quarterback, and I specifically said that because I said the team outside of the quarterback.
I got that, but that includes the kicker, that includes the defensive players,
outside.
And what I'm saying is that is your opinion. However, you cannot say that the team did not come to play when 3 or 4 turnovers were manufactured by the other team's defense. That's not saying the other team didn't come to play. That's just saying that the defense played better. They played better. It wasn't self-inflicted wounds. If it was self-inflicted, I can probably agree with you.
Protect the ball.
But they were not self-inflicted.
You got to protect the ball. I don't care what you say. You got
that.
And if it's a continuous thing, over and over, four turnovers, 3 or more fumbles. That's paying attention to what you're doing. That's not coming to play. That's not come. I don't care what the defense created. That's not coming to play.
Like I said, it is your opinion. You're entitled to it. I disagree with it, but
Okay.
I will tell you this: if you want to compare that, any team you've ever rooted for has never come to play, because every team you've ever rooted for has turned. They go from decent teams to turnover machines. We can talk about this. No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Based on your logic, no team you've rooted for has ever been successful when they've.
You're right.
And every time anytime there was a turnover and they lost, they never showed up. Which is it. I'm gonna tell you right now.
They never.
You can say, and I agree, I would wholeheartedly agree with this, because one player had 2 turnovers. De'Ami Brown didn't come to play the way that he should have, because he had 2 of those 4 fumbles. I can agree with that. But to say Frankie Louvu, Jeremy Chin, Deron Payne, we had 5 sacks, but we didn't come to play. We had no. I want you to understand how my point.
Your point
is. If you're telling me that these guys didn't come to play,
win it.
That's an insult.
Do you win as a team or lose as a team? Do you win as a team and do you lose?
So why did you exclude the quarterback? So why did you? I'm a point. Why did you exclude the quarterback?
Because the quarterback played.
No, as you said, you win as a team, you lose as a team, but you excluded the quarterback.
You stop. Come on, Victor, stop it. Stop it.
Why am I stopping it?
That's why I have words. That's why I have a hard time with this. Come on, man. Stop.
Words.
I said, stop it, please. I said everyone except the quarterback, because if you watch the quarterback play,
you lose as a team, right?
But if
that means he didn't come to play.
He has to rely on his teammates, and if his teammates don't come through at the time, he passes the ball to the teammates. If his teammates don't come to at the time, they didn't come to play.
Jerry, I just told you I can understand if you said De'Ami Brown didn't come to play. He had 2 turnovers. Austin Eckler getting up off the ground, clutching the ball.
No excuse.
Wait a minute.
That's no excuse. Stop it. Stop it. No excuse.
Again, like I said, based on your own words,
Victor.
Theory, no team you've ever liked has come to play when they've lost.
Running back, he got to protect the ball at all times. Come on, man, stop.
I did not say he didn't. What I'm telling you is, if you're going to say, because Austin Eckler,
say it, and
Austin Eckler had that fumble, De'Ami Brown had 2 fumbles, and I forgot the 4th. What was the 4th turnover? What was the 4th turnover? Because
here.
No, listen.
Ball over.
I understand you don't care. But what I'm trying to point something out to you
Stop.
You don't want to see. First you say all but David.
They're all to be right.
I absolutely am.
I'm done. I
absolutely am always right. I'm Skip. I'm acting like Skip Bayless right now. But my point is, you've got a point in mentioning that part, not the entire team, part of the team didn't show up because 3 players created 4 turnovers by their lack of ball security. But that defense, for the most part, held Philly on their side of the field or in situations that Philly had to go for it on 4th down. Then, let's say 3 plays later, they're back on the field because of a fumble. I get it. But I'm not going to sit here and say the team didn't show up. They got beat. They got beat pretty good. But they showed up. That's all. Moving on, because now we're going to get to something I really want to talk about. And I'm glad you called in because, I mean, of course I would have done it by myself anyway, but I'm interested in your thoughts. I am interested in your thoughts on the AP Most Valuable Player, the Comeback Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, stuff like that. Because according to Fox and the fans, they had their own set of people they believe, should get these awards. Coach of the Year, Assistant Coach of the Year, so on and so forth. And I agreed with a great deal of them. But the only ones that matter are the AP awards that happen February 6th. And you weren't on, but like I told folks that were here, voting closed that Monday after week 18. So after week 18, no matter what happened, the votes were on the 18 weeks. And I'm kind of against that. The reason why I'm against that is because during the playoffs, a lot of these players showed up and showed why they deserve an award. Let's talk about the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, I don't know if you even follow, these rookies and their performances, but Jared Verse has been a force for the Los Angeles Rams. Quinyon Mitchell has been dominant for the Philadelphia Eagles. Notice my wordplay. Dominant is, in my opinion, the higher standard. The reason why I say that is because this young man, as a rookie starting in the National Football League, locking in on the team's best receivers, keep that in mind, had 1 pass interference call and 1 touchdown on him all year long in that 18-week period. Right? 17 weeks, because I think he got hurt week 18 because he didn't play week 18. And it goes to my reasoning here. Jared Verse, rookie, outside linebacker, pass rusher. I think he had like 7 or 8 sacks, some pressures, and stuff like that. But here's what I'm getting to. And you might have a different opinion on this, Mr. Taylor. How many players on that Rams defensive line? Because there are 3 or 4 rookies on the defensive line. How many other of them had 7, 8 sacks? I believe 2 of the other 3. And the impact, Jared Verse, and this is why I said the playoffs should count. Jared Verse, the Rams played who the Rams played first game? They played we played
Minnesota.
Thank you. In that game versus Minnesota, Jared Verse had a good game, But the guy that had the better game was, I think his number's 49, something like that. They both got to Sam Darnold, but the better player was one of his fellow rookie linemen. There was another one that had like 2 or 3 sacks out of the 9 that they got, but it wasn't Jared Verse. In fact, Jared Verse was out on the last couple of drives that Minnesota had in the playoffs. So when I look at, for me, if I'm a voter on AP, Quinyon Mitchell, a rookie locking up on the opposing team's best receiver every game, allowing less than 3 receptions. I think it was like 1.8 or 2.1, something like that, receptions per game. 1 pass interference in the 17 games he played, and it was in the last game he played. That is dominating. Now, granted, what's the other rookie cornerback over there? Deshaun from Iowa, the guy that Poirier kept telling us was going to be a beast.
Talking about
DeJean. Cooper DeJean. Granted, Cooper DeJean is covering the slot guy, but did you notice Cooper DeJean became the other starting corner? Big Game Slay went to the slot. You had 2 starting cornerbacks starting. When Quinyon got hurt week 17, the Giants were eating up Philly secondary. They ate up Big Game Slay, who filled in for Quinyon Mitchell. Now, Cooper DeJean didn't have the better year than Quinyon, but he had a damn good year. So I do the comparison of, okay, 2 rookie corners, one being dominant, one's being just fabulous. I look at the Rams front 4, and I'm telling you, that front 4, as long as they're not playing from behind, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem. Jared Verse has the name. Jared Verse has the limelight because Jared Verse gets the sacks. But if you lock down the number 1 the number 1 receiver on each team, and the quarterbacks are not throwing it away, I think that speaks more volume to your ability to take away the other team's best player, best wide receiver from the quarterback. My vote would be for Quinyon Mitchell, but let me give you the Defensive Player of the Year candidates. Cooper DeJean, as I told you. Brandon Fisk, that's number 49 for the Rams. That's opposite of Jared Verse. Chop Robinson, linebacker, Miami Dolphins, and Jared Verse. So here's the deal. Either Philly, Miami gonna get this because Chop Robinson is in Miami. He ain't getting this. He wasn't better than any of these folks. Brandon Fisk had actually more sacks than Jared Verse.
So let me add, is Quentin Mitchell in that list?
You didn't hear me?
No, I heard. Okay, he's in the list.
I said, I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again. If you didn't hear every person, Cooper DeJean, which was the other rookie corner, opposite of Quinyon Mitchell.
Right.
Brandon Fisk, the other DN opposite of Jarrett Verse, Quinyon Mitchell,
Okay.
Chop Robinson, and then Jarrett Verse. Those are the 5 finalists.
To me, it's not close. To me, it's not even close. I had said weeks ago that I thought this kid was the clear-cut defensive rookie of the year, and nothing up until this point has changed my mind. It's the dude from Philly, not Eugene, Quinyon Mitchell.
So why do you put him over Jarrett Verse, where everybody else, all the pundits, claim that Jarrett Verse? Well, I mean, they're the voters, so I mean, they may have put him over. But
let me ask you something here. Who won? What Jet won the defensive rookie of the year by being a shutdown corner?
Oh, my guy, Sauce Gardner.
Hello, shutdown corner. You're a shutdown corner. You went, in my opinion, you're in rarefied air. In this day of passing the football, and you can shut down the number 1 wide receiver to almost nothing. You're in rarefied air.
I completely agree with you. But the thing about it, Sauce had a lot of publicity around him.
Okay.
And he's in New York, so there's a lot of people talking. Quinyon was not getting talked about on the national stage unless it was a Philly game, and it was a nationally televised game. Jarrett Verse was getting talked about because he came out. Well, both came out as the best at their position in college, right? But Jarrett Verse was supposed to be a top 5 pick. They thought he was going to go to Atlanta, but Atlanta picked up Michael Penix, right? Quinyon came from a MAC school, even though he was still the first cornerback taken, as he should have been. The hubbub around him wasn't as great, and that's what worries me. I'm not gonna say worries me, but that's what kind of scares me, because all you heard for the last 3 weeks of the NFL season were Jarrett versus this, Jarrett versus that. But his teammate Fisk, who I just said has just as many sacks and has been impactful because he played more downs than Verse did. But anyway, go ahead.
In my opinion, to me, it's not even close. I like Quinyon Mitchell. If you're a shutdown corner, being able to shut down number 1 wide receivers, like I said, in a passing dominant league, that you can just shut off that one side of the field, because if you throw to them, it's going to be a problem, a Deion Sanders type problem.
Yeah.
That's it. That you're an impactful player. You're a game changer. Okay.
And when he was out, big play Slay sat in for that one game and got abused a little bit. And he's the veteran. But when Verse was on the sideline, Fitz was still causing problems.
I can tell you a veteran that's overhyped, that's on your team, that is not all that. He's not all that anymore. But it is what it is. Just because he's a veteran and he has a name doesn't make him.
I'm asking you who?
Son, huh?
I'm asking you who?
Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore is over the proverbial hill. I'm telling you right now.
I can look. I see that. And we only gave up, I think, a 4th form or something like that. But what he has is knowledge. He can pass the Sammer still.
Okay.
And during the game, yes, I did notice that his he was handling AJ until they threw that last 30 seconds of the half touchdown on AJ. But AJ was being so physical with him when Lattimore's been physical back, they was flagging Lattimore. And I'm like, how you gonna call him pass interference? But you clearly see AJ Brown's hand inside the jersey holding down Lattimore's stuff.
Let me just say this, man.
But anyway, no.
Okay, because I'm
It doesn't matter.
I got flashbacks of him going against a certain wide receiver all the time,
I
and
know.
still having problems. So
I know. But when he went against that guy, he would dominate. But there's always a fight. Anyway, let's move on to the offensive player of the year. Now, I'm be honest. To me, it's only two competitors, but I'm gonna read them all off. Brock Bowers, tight end, Raiders. Jaden Daniels, Washington Commanders quarterback. Malik Neighbors, New York Giants. Bo Nix, Denver Broncos. Brian Thomas Jr., Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's going to be going to a quarterback. Not just because it's my quarterback, but because it's a quarterback. That's the bottom line. A quarterback. Brock Bowers broke a record that stood forever.
Yep.
Mike Ditka's record.
Yep.
And he did it with piss poor quarterback play on a piss poor Raiders team.
Well, I would say a piss poor Raiders team. I wouldn't say piss poor quarterback play because he had a mixture of Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Both those guys aren't piss poor, but they're not top tier quarterbacks. Let me put it that way.
To get him to the record of Mike Ditka when you have all these Hall of Fame like tight ends and Hall of Fame tight ends that didn't do it their rookie year because they weren't utilized as much. Bo Nix was always a pretender to me because he's a game manager. He's a game manager. And we saw what happened when he had to, from start to finish, win a game in the playoffs. His defense failed him versus Buffalo. Now that defense has, and this is going to be a close one in my opinion, has Patrick Surtain the second, who might just get Defensive Player of the Year, as we talked about, a shutdown corner, right?
Okay.
But in that game, and this is again why I say let's look at least a couple of games in the playoffs before we vote, right? To see how people show up. Bo Nix, from start to finish of that game versus Buffalo, had to win that game, and he couldn't. The defense did not play up to the level they had been playing all year. Patrick Surtain II did not play up to the level he played all season. So again, I'm not counting Malik Neighbors. I'm not counting Brian Thomas Jr. Both have very good seasons, but they both also struggled because of quarterback play. And Neighbors was out like, I think 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, something like that, injury. And Thomas didn't really catch fire until like week 5. So Brock Bowers and Jalen Daniels are, in my opinion, the top two that we're discussing here. You know who I'm leaning with, and I already said, even if it wasn't my quarterback, the quarterback gets this because of what he did, period. So, I'm going Jaden Daniels.
Well, even before the season, I like Jaden Daniels. Even before the season, I said Jaden Daniels should be the top pick over Kalen Williams. I did say that.
Okay, you did.
I didn't like teams at all. I like Jaden Daniels. I think he was a baller. And not that I had anything to do with it, but he proved to be a baller in capital letters, a baller. Okay. Even in the playoffs, he was a baller. Looked like the moment was never too big for him.
Correct.
Never, ever too big for him. All he had to do was get his teammates to jump on board and ride that train in the last game. But it is what it is. It's a learning experience for the whole team, including the quarterback. And I expect him to big things. Big things. He's the rookie of the year. In my opinion, it ain't even close. That's another position that is not close. This guy from start to finish proved was the best rookie offensive player of the year, without a doubt. Look at what happened to the other rookie that everybody was hyping in the quarterback position in Bo Nix compared to Jaden Daniels in the playoffs. Who showed up and showed out the best?
Yeah.
Number 5 in Washington. Number 5 in Washington. If I wasn't married to my team right now, I probably
you are no.
Just listen to this. My son is a diehard Washington Commander fan, and I told him point blank a couple of weeks ago, this is my favorite player in the NFL. My favorite player to watch in the NFL. I'm not moving, but I'm just saying this is my favorite player to watch in the NFL.
See, here's the problem with that. You said Deshaun Watson was your favorite player. Now you're going to my guy. Do not get on this bandwagon. We do not need any Jerry Juju over here. Not one drop.
He's my favorite player to watch. Okay. All right. He's my favorite player to watch. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I'm keeping it real. Okay. I'm not trying to put a jinx on him. I'm just saying he's that good a player, man. I give props when props is due. And I also call players out when I think it's called for. Okay? This player, I get a lot of props to. Some other players that I've talked about in the past, I give props to. But before that, I was dogging them out. And I'll say that straight up. I was dogging them out. But when they started playing better, I get props to. So I just call it like I see it. Like I see it. Not like a fan sees it, like I see it. So,
okay, stay your happy ass on Deshaun Watson's train. Do not come over here liking Jaden Daniels. I do not need the juju.
I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Okay, right now,
I didn't say about Cleveland Browns. I said Deshaun is your favorite. Don't even think about liking Jaden. I do not want, because if something happened to him, you know who I'm going to blame? You know exactly who I'm going to blame. You know exactly who I'm going to blame.
Yeah. I have no idea. I can't control someone's health. I can't control things that happen to certain players. I don't have that power.
Let's move on to the defensive player of the year.
Oof.
I don't like you right now. So here are the 5 finalists. And I don't know. Zach Bond, Philadelphia Eagle linebacker who really stood out, played really, really well all season for the Eagles, and had a great playoff as well.
Is he number 50 or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett, Cleveland Browns. Sorry, Myles. Y'all all suck. Because your fans are idiots too. Trey Hendrickson, Cincinnati Bengals DM. I don't know why he's even considered, because I don't think he had that good of a year, but they got him in here.
17 and a half sacks. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but again, how many people know that? You know what I'm saying?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that 17 and a half sacks is not something to quibble about.
It's not. It's not. Best of his year, I mean of his career, and he's a free agent. Patrick Surtain the second. We already talked about him. And then the one that should have got it last year but didn't get it, so I think they'll give it to him this year, TJ Watt.
No.
Now, here's the thought. Here's my thought. Zach Bond, very good player. I think he finishes 5th or 4th out of these 5, right? Trey Hendricks, 17 and a half sacks, but not a household name.
Doesn't have to be.
Not a household name. Myles Garrett didn't have his best season, but everybody knows who Myles Garrett is. Patrick Surtain II has, again, it's him and Quinyon Mitchell at the top of that, locking the receivers down, right? Then TJ Watt, again, not his best season, but the name. Here's my thought. TJ and Patrick are the two running for this. I say that because despite the 17 and a half sacks, Cincinnati sucked. Period. Across the board. I don't care how many touchdowns Jamar Chase got. I don't care how many yards Joe Burrow threw for. They still suck all season. Cleveland, need I say more? They suck. Abysmal. Myles Garrett did have a typical Myles Garrett season, but it wasn't anything extraordinary. Again, Pat Surtain II locks down everybody until that playoff game. TJ Watt, statistically, probably not his best year, but that name and that body of work that he's had, in my opinion, gives it to him, because last year, Mr. Taylor's up shaking his head. That's fine, he can. But last year, his numbers were way better than Aaron Donald. But who got the award? Aaron Donald on his way out. So, and I'm also give you a little insight into what I know, because I call into these shows sometimes, and I pose a question. And I'm going to pose this to you. It's more for the offensive, the MVP and offensive player of the year, but MVP is what I'm talking about. With Jaden Daniels having comparable numbers to both Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, why couldn't Jaden Daniels be considered Rookie of the Year and Offensive Player of the, and MVP? And the answer that I was given is, well, it could be a one-off, and he has to come back next year and prove it. And I'm like, so it's really not most valuable player for that season. It's not the 2025 most valuable player.
Right.
It's the 2025 and 2026.
No.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to my logic. If you're telling me the kid has a comparable set of numbers as the two MVP leaders, and he did it as a rookie, and he brought more people to the TV, right? Why is he not then considered a most valuable player to the league for that season? And the answer I was given was, well, he's got to do it again.
What? No.
Well, Well,
No way.
that's why I said the MVP award to me then isn't for that season. It's that season and the following season.
No
But
way.
with that being said, Pat Surtain had the most impactful of the five, right? Yeah, the most impactful of the five. But based upon what I just talked about, I'm giving it to TJ Watt from the answer.
Hell
And
no.
I'm telling you this from two people. I know one of them has a vote. I know one has a vote. I don't know who they voted for. I don't know if the other person has a vote.
TJ Watt? No way. You just said it yourself. It wasn't one of his best seasons. That in itself disqualifies him. Myles Garrett. I think Myles Garrett won it last year.
Somebody got it last year.
Myles Garrett, if I'm not mistaken, won it last year for Defensive Player of the Year.
But he didn't have the better numbers than TJ, is my point. And TJ had way better numbers, but didn't win it.
But let me put it this way: the guys that you named, guy from Philly,
Bond,
guy from Cleveland,
Gary.
guy from Pittsburgh. Those three guys, in my opinion, are also Rams. The only two that I'm worried about that I would put up in contention with each other is Trey Hendrickson and Patrick Surtain. Trey Hendrickson has 17.5 sacks. Regardless of what team he was on, he had 17.5 sacks. Patrick Surtain is a shutdown corner, and with the person's logic that you have, Patrick Surtain had done it more than 1 year. Okay, I
agree.
But in my opinion, for 2025, not 2024, 2025, or 2025, 2026, 2025 in itself, Trey Hendrickson.
Okay. I mean, we have our differing opinions. I think Patrick Surtain is going to win it, but I think they're going to give it to TJ. That's what I think. All right, most valuable player. Not offensive player of the year, and I think offensive player of the year should go to Saquon. That's me.
Wait. My point is this: when you say most valuable player, but you said not offensive player, I don't understand that. Most valuable.
There's the MVP, right, of the league,
right,
and then there's the offensive player of the year.
Okay. So
one is just strictly offense, and the other can be a defensive player as well. But 9 times out of 10, and in this case, this year, all of the MVP candidates are offensive players.
Okay. So why can't a player win MVP and also offensive player of the year?
I don't think there's no rule saying that it can't happen, but that's the dichotomy. Because if you go offensive player of the year, in my opinion, Saquon Barkley, right? For all that he did. Well, I said in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's Saquon Barkley. But if you're looking at MVP of the league, they're looking at quarterbacks mostly. And all the people on this list, except for Saquon, are quarterbacks.
Okay.
So, but for offensive player of the year, you've got quarterbacks, running backs. We'll get to that when I get to it. But
I'm gonna surprise you. I'm gonna surprise you on this. Go ahead.
MVP, Josh Allen. Only way you'll surprise me is if you pick freaking Lamar. That's the only way you surprise me because you're a hater. Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, and for the only reason I can think of. He led the league in passing yards and touchdowns. Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Lamar Jackson. Those are your 5 MVP persons. Now,
I don't like any of those. Don't like any of them. I told you going to support any of them.
Okay, well, let me give my thoughts, and I'll let you give who you think, since you don't like any of them. And again, this is why I say go to the playoffs when you're doing these votes, right? Going into the last couple of weeks of the season, it was a big push for Lamar over Josh, right?
Try to tell you no.
And Josh has done a lot more with a lot less, in my opinion. However, out of the 5, Saquon has been the best out of the 5, in my opinion. Out of the 5. But knowing the NFL, Lamar gets his 3rd MVP in the 4. No, not the 4. What is his 4th time being a finalist? I think. Because Aaron Rodgers has 5, but I think he gets his 3rd MVP based upon the last several weeks of the NFL season and the way it was described, how these voters vote. Goff did very well, very, very well. But he had moments where he showed, I can't be MVP. Burrow, great numbers, but couldn't do much for his team in the end. I'm going Lamar. Now, you say you don't have not one of the 5 as your most valuable player of the league.
Nope, I'm going off the grid here. Nope. Let me ask you. I'm going to pose this to you, and I think you know where I'm going to go with this. Okay. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Jared Goff. Who am I missing?
From the list?
From the list, yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Okay. All right. Out of the 5 of those players, did any of them not make the playoffs last year?
Saquon did not make the playoffs last year.
Wait a minute. Let me put this on. Let me premise it this way. Of the 5 players, did the team that they're on presently not make the playoffs last year?
No, all of them made the playoffs.
Okay.
No. Cincinnati did not make the playoffs last year.
Cincinnati didn't. Okay, that's fine. Okay. And an MVP is the most valuable player on that team. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Okay.
No, MVP of the league is the most valuable player in the league.
Okay. So the most valuable player in the league of a team that went 4-13 last year and went all the way to the NFC Championship. Made it all the way to the championship, and he does not
You're trying to get on my good side. You're just trying to get back on my good side.
MVP is a travesty, and he's not considered as an MVP. Why? Because he's a rookie? Come on, man.
Exactly.
Come on. That's why he was going up the grid. His team was 4-13. They were abysmal last year. They were horrible last year. And he comes on the scene and takes them to the NFC Championship and plays well throughout the playoffs. Come on, man. And he's not a candidate for the MVP? Come on.
I totally agree. And You just trying to be my friend again because that's all you trying to do. But it's okay. I'm not going to call for the banana in the tailpipe. But I agree 1,000% with what you just said. I agree 1,000% with what you said. Based on exactly what you said. Exactly. The impact of Jaden Daniels on his team and the league.
Yes.
And the league is major.
On the list. How can he not be on the list? Come on, man. Really?
Now, he might have got some votes, but he was not one of the top 5.
Come on. Really? Really?
I'm looking at the final 5 now.
There's no serious voters in there, man. Come on.
Well, all I can say is,
come on.
I 1,000% agree with exactly what you said. You might as well take a picture and record this. Only time I'm ever going to say this about you, ever. So let's move on.
It's too obvious to me. Too obvious to me. And I'm not trying to make friends here. It's too obvious to me that a player like that, as impactful as he was to his team and to the league, was not being. Because I don't care if he was a rookie. I could care less.
Me neither.
And he's not even on the list. That's crazy.
Very much so. But let's go to the offensive player of the year. And this is interesting. It might have more debate than a little bit, but I know who I would go for. I believe this person is going to get it. Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson. So here's my thought process, ladies and gentlemen. Lamar's getting MVP. Saquon gets Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
Derrick Henry, great season, Derrick. Great season. But you're not the MVP of the league.
He's all right. He wasn't great.
Jamar Chase led the league in receiving touchdowns. Joe Burrow led the league in passing yards and touchdowns.
You know the reason why I said that. Come on.
So, I think Saquon should be Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. Out of the people that are the finalists. I think he is the Offensive Player of the Year and MVP out of all of the finalists. Take him off of Philly. Does Philly have as good of a year as they've had? I don't think so.
They still get in the playoffs. They're
still in the playoffs, but I don't think they get to the Super Bowl because who's their running back? We don't know. We honestly don't know. I mean, let's say this. Let's say their plan was to get Saquon or Derrick Henry, right? Because I think Philly did talk to Derrick Henry preliminarily. I don't know if you get the same result with Derrick Henry in Philly that you got with Saquon, because Saquon was catching the ball out the backfield for Philly, and making stuff happen. The rushing, you get the rushing. You get the rushing for sure. The tush push probably wouldn't have been used as much with Derrick Henry there. But in my opinion, Saquon has proven without a shadow of a doubt. And I believe he would have got Eric Dickerson's record. I think he would have got it. But without a shadow of a doubt, I have Saquon Barkley as the Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, I can agree with that, and but I don't like any of those guys that for MVP. And especially
offensive player of the year, not MVP.
And that what I said was, I think Saquon should be the offensive player of the year, but I disagree with that MVP list that you put out there.
Oh, okay. I mean, I get it. We both agree that Jaden Daniels should be on it, but who do you take off?
Joe Burrow. I take Joe Burrow off.
Off MVP? Joe Burrow is not on MVP.
Huh?
Joe Burrow is not on MVP.
Wait a minute. Who's on the MVP then?
Yeah, he is. Damn. Yeah, he is. My bad. Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Saquon, and Josh.
I take Joe Burrow off. Joe Burrow, and my reason, I told you this a few weeks. I told you a few weeks ago about what I thought about Joe Burrow. He had to throw and throw and throw because his defense was so bad. They had to make it up.
And that's exactly why I don't think Hendrickson gets Defensive Player of the Year. That's exactly why.
I have to disagree with you, but that's a horse of a different color there. But that's okay. I mean, we don't have to agree on everything here. It's just the fact is, I think Joe Burrow was not because it was within the framework of the offense. It was something he had to do because of the efficiency of their defense. So that's a big difference. Jared Goff played within the offense, so I would keep him on there, but and not out of need. That's just the way they are. But Joe Burrow was a different story. They sucked on defense and had to make it up and use their offense as their defense. So it is what it is. But I cannot believe that Jaden Daniels, not even 5 on the list of MVP. What? That's crazy.
Now we're going to go to the comeback player of the year.
Oof.
For clarification, and I have clarification, the voters could vote for for Sam Darnold. There's an emphasis on voting for players that come back from physical injury. That's why Joe Burrow, at the time, was the odds-on favorite to win the award. But in my opinion, the spirit of the award is to have somebody that either came back from physical injury, devastating physical injury. Joe Burrow's injury was not devastating, and leads his team to great success. Or a player that came from
nowhere,
the bowels of hell,
right,
and turned everything around,
right.
Or a player that died on the field and then came back to have an impactful year. So here are the 5 finalists: Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez. If those don't know who he is, I wish we would have got him. But the cornerback for the New England Patriots. I would have loved to have him over Forbes. Different time, different day. And Damar Hamlin. So I'm going to tell you, of course, who I think should win and why. And I'm going to tell you why a couple of these shouldn't get it. Of course, I'm going to pick Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold came from nowhere, took his team to a 14-3 record, had 4 bad games, but otherwise dominated all season. Remember, that 4th game was in the playoffs, so it didn't count. And he was winning without getting Justin Jefferson in the end zone for 2 months.
Yep.
2 months without getting the best player on your team in the end zone. You're down your star tight end.
And your tight end come back from a devastating knee injury.
Yeah. To me, and you're considered a bust year 7 in your career after being the number 1 overall pick. Okay, that's why I have him there. Joe Burrow, again, did he have a devastating injury? No. Joe Burrow gets injured every year. Did he put up great statistical numbers? Yes, but what was the impact? The team did not win enough games. They were in the fight, but that's all they were, in the fight. J.K. Dobbins. Now, J.K. Dobbins has a legit shot based upon this rule. Based upon this new rule, J.K. Dobbins has a legit shot of being comeback player of the year because he comes back from 2 blown ACLs and an Achilles tendon. And he comes in like a hurricane.
And he gets hurt.
And gets hurt again and comes back. But the impact he had on that team propelled the Chargers to the playoffs. When he was out for those 4 weeks, they could not run the ball at all. At all. That's why I said he has a legit shot, in my opinion, if you're going by the letter of the law based upon the strong suggestions of a player on that. Christian Gonzalez. He's coming back from an injury. It was a pretty decent injury, but he's not the comeback player of the year. I've seen this dude play for real. He mauls receivers all the way down the field. I love it. But he's not comeback player of the year. Damar Hamlin. Damar was cheated out of it last year by Joe Flacco because Joe Flacco came off the couch, had 5 decent games because you don't count the playoffs, had 5 decent games, and he's a quarterback. So, of course, they gave it to the quarterback. But this guy dies. But he didn't play as much last year as he did this year. Right?
Wasn't that all that impactful this year?
No, he wasn't. But last year, he came back and he played in a backup role. So I get it. But this year, I think they're like, well, you should have got it last year. You actually died on the field on national TV. You're not that impactful, but your story is. So there's a chance, but I'm like, the better story right now for this year is Sam Darnold.
Yep.
Ooh, Israel Adesanya is about to lose. Israel Adesanya just lost. All
What's
right.
that?
I'm looking at UFC.
Oh.
Damn. Anyway, Sam Darnold to me, plain and simple. Who do you have?
I got Sam. I mean, to me, it's no brainer. I like Sam Darnold going into the season when J.J. McCarthy went down. I've always told you for the last few years that I like that offense in Minnesota. I like that head coach because he can coach quarterbacks up and get quarterbacks to play well in that offense. That's why I like Sam Darnold in the offense. I don't think it made a difference whether it was J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold. That's just a push and play type of position in Minnesota. You get a halfway decent quarterback that can do the things that coach wants him to do. He's going to thrive in that offense. Sam Darnold could do that.
Okay. Two more categories. I'm gonna do assistant coach of the year. Joe Brady, Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator. Vic Fangio, Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator. Brian Flores, Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn, Detroit Lions defensive coordinator. and Ben Johnson, Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. Out of the 5,
That's tough.
I'm voting Brian Flores. That defense, in my opinion, was bonkers all season long. All season long. And some might even say that's why Sam Darnold was able to look so good, because the defense got him the ball back. The defense played really well. Also, Joe Brady could be considered too, because he made so much with so little. Ben Johnson, I'm not even considering. Aaron Glenn, I'm not considering, because I think his defenses aren't that good. They're not. He has a very talented offense working with him. Vic Fangio with rookie cornerbacks. Ooh, that is a smoker, man. But I'm gonna go with Brian. I would not be surprised if Vic gets it, but I'm gonna go with Brian. Who are you going with?
I'd have to think that would be Vic Fangio. Last season, Philadelphia's pass defense was the worst. Yep. One of the worst. Okay. And in comes 2 rookie corners and Vic Fangio to run that defense. And where did Philly's defense wind up? Number one. Number 1. Okay. So I got to go with what I see is that if you come from where you were a year ago and become the number 1 defense overall, Vic Fangio.
Okay. Well, last category we're going to talk about before I get off of here. Coach of the year. Coach of the year. I think I know who you're going to vote for. I think I already know. But let me go over it. Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions. Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota Vikings. Sean Payton, Denver Broncos. Dan Quinn, Washington Commanders. And Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs. Those are your 5 coaches. For me, it's going to sound like a homer.
Yeah, I know.
It sounds like a homer. But at first, I had Dan Campbell as a coach of the year as the season was going. But then I thought about it. 4-13 to 12-5. 4-13 to 12-5. And then I said, Minnesota's making wine out of water with Sam Darnold. O'Connell is definitely a quarterback whisperer. Definitely. And they're killing everybody. And then I saw that Fox fan voting. And the Fox fans voted for Dan Quinn. And I was like, yeah, he has a legit shot because he went all the way to the damn, NFC Championship game. But again, voting happened at the end of week 18. Detroit was still smoking. Week 18, Sam saw some ghosts. But that does not negate what O'Connell did all year. Sean Payton, never thought. Andy Reid, winning by the skin of your teeth, brother.
Don't make a difference. You win, you win.
I understand. But I'm going to go with Dan. I'm going to go with Dan Quinn and not Dan Campbell. But I think I know who you're going to pick. Go right ahead.
I have no idea who I'm going to pick because the fact is, I'm going to go your route, okay, and say that a head coach makes wine out of water, okay. There's 2 coaches that should be in contention, in my opinion. 3 of the 5 coaches, if I'm not mistaken, their team made the playoffs last season. 2 of the coaches, their team did not make the playoffs this season. That's the Denver Broncos.
If you go ahead.
And the Washington Commanders. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, the other person on this broadcast was not too happy about his coach coming on to coach the Washington Commanders. And a lot of people did not think that Dan Quinn was the right choice for the Washington Commanders. Talk about making wine out of water. Being able to get the right people in the right position to get the best out of their players. Across the board, whether it was on defense and especially on offense. Coach of the year, in my opinion, Dan Quinn.
Okay. I thought you was about to say Peyton. I was about to say, dude, you're making strides back on my good side today.
Oh, wow. I'm so happy. Wow.
Look. Anyway,
Christ.
What I would like right now, as we get ready to end this show, is for you to go to your cabinet and grab the trophy and show everyone the trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Taylor went and ordered his own plaque to put on the trophy because there was a plaque already on there for him. I had the date mixed up, but I also had an asterisk on his name because he deserved an asterisk. Lift a little bit more. Up, right there. So I had a mistake of putting 2023 where that 2024 is. Also had an asterisk beside it because he shouldn't have been able to go anyway. Mr. Taylor went and got his own plate made without the asterisk and put 2024 on it.
The responsibilities of the commissioner is to make sure whoever wins the trophy gets it right on their name.
Whatever.
So I made sure
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you.
Wait a minute.
No. I'm gonna let you talk in a second. I'm gonna let you talk in a second. I know what you're gonna say with your backhanded comment.
No, know what I'm going for. Jesus.
Okay. Well, this is what I'm gonna say. I bought this trophy out the kindness of my heart. The league didn't put in on it. And I asked their opinion though, because it's something I wanted to do. And I also bought that ring for the league champ. And obviously it's too big for him because it only get past my knuckle. So you can tell it doesn't really belong to him.
Oh, it belongs to me.
The league
it belongs to me.
But what I'm going to say is I encourage you guys out there to get trophies, to get belts, to get stuff that your league likes outside of money. Money can be a part of it, but what I'm telling you is there is so much jubilation and excitement about this trophy. I'm gonna give props to what is it? Trophy Smack or I think it's Trophy Smack. Hopefully, Mr. Taylor didn't rip up the box and the foam and stuff. Trophy Smack, yes, Trophy Smack. They have some very, very good items. And I'm very thankful for them because I started to not buy anything, but I was like, you know what? Last time I had a perpetual trophy, 2 of my former league members passed away. And Mr. Taylor, that's not it. That's not mine.
Well, you're talking about trophies for a league. I have a trophy.
Okay, we're not talking about other leagues. We're not talking about other leagues. I have no care for any other league.
It's good to get trophies. It's just good to give out trophies.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm not talking about a league I'm not a part of or anything like that.
What, man?
There's no advertising in any other league. There's no advertising in any other league. But my point is that the response I saw in our league chat when Mr. Taylor finally put the trophy up, because I knew he got it like a week ago.
No, I didn't. I only got it Tuesday, and I was dealing with COVID that nobody decided to check up on me. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Nobody said, you all right? How you feeling?
We got other things going on in our lives.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, some of us are dealing with you can quit now before we fire you. So I think that's kind of important.
Oh.
Yeah. So shut your mouth. Yeah.
Well, how am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know
exactly.
something?
Exactly. How are you supposed to know that?
Now?
Okay. And you don't want to go through this. I'm telling you, you don't want to go through this right now. Because I can pull up the last time somebody contacted me up until today. So don't even go there about reaching out. Don't even go there. You were doing so well. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to keep in-house business. But you see how some people, and I guarantee you next year, if Mr. Taylor repeats what he did this year, he won't have a chance to sniff this. And I'm going to end the show on this. The rules for next year's league. I was supposed to do it last week. I did not. But for next year's league, the basics are, firstly, all funds are due August 1st. No exceptions. August 1.
No exceptions.
August 1. All funds are due. Sorry. These rules are the backbone, and I may add to, but I will not subtract from them. I will also email these out to everyone as well as pin them here in the group. No more, because that guy's a cheater. He is, and he should not have it. But he, according to Yahoo, he won the league. So I'm gonna leave it at that. No more than 2 quarterbacks on your roster that are active. 1 quarterback can be placed on IR, and you can have that. Only 4 active running backs allowed on your roster. Only 6 active wide receivers. We will be going to a free agent budget. A free agent budget. This free agent budget will be $100, and it would allow you all season. I need you to turn down that background.
What background? I don't get no background.
I don't know, but it's getting reverb. You have $100 from week 1 through the championship to pick up players. There will no longer be an order of precedence for pickups, except for agents. But for waivers, any player on waivers, you will have to use the free agent budget.
I got a question.
You go from, write it down. Write it down. We will go from 6 divisions to 1 single solitary division. only the top 6 records will advance. When it goes to tiebreakers, it will then go to points 4.
Not head
This
to
is
head.
only
Not
one division.
head to
It
head.
will not go on division record. All right. Well, I might change that, but I have decided not to expand to 14 teams. However, I have 3 people in line waiting to jump into the league if payments are not made by August 1st. Keeper rules will remain the same. We will redraft every 3rd year. So this year we redrafted. You are allowed to keep 2 keepers or none or 1 from this year's draft outside of the first 2 rounds. If one of your keepers was picked up on waivers and was never drafted, that player will occupy your last and or your second to last draft pick. We will have draft pick trade. Last place regular season winner. Well, no, excuse me. I decided on this one. Last place, once the final brackets are done, championship and toilet bowl. Championship and toilet bowl. So week 17, I believe it is. Week 17, the person that finishes in last place after the consolidation round will have the option to either go into a lottery with others that want to get into the league or pay for the league champions entry the following season. I will repeat this. After the consolidation rounds in the playoffs are complete, whoever finishes in 12th will have the option to go into a lottery or pay for the champion's fee. Now, I will also be changing because the champion, Mr. Taylor, it's called the champion rule. You get to pick one thing to change. Mr. Taylor has decided he wants to add an additional flex position. I'm fine with that because I'm turning the regular flex position into a super flex. There will only be 2 flex positions. One is a regular flex. Oh, no. There'll be 3. I'm sorry. 3 flex positions because you want an additional one. No, it's 2.
Yes.
It's only 2 because I'm turning the one flex position we have into a super flex. And the other flex position is the flex position you want. So, with that being said,
Are you sure about that?
Yes, because right now there's a flex position, right? You want an additional flex position. That's 2 flex positions. I am taking the original flex position and turning it into a super flex, leaving it with 2 flex positions. My dilemma is this. Do I want to eliminate a defensive player or a or defense altogether. I am not getting rid of kickers. Kickers are people too. I am leaning toward removing a defensive player position. Therefore, the amount of players drafted are the same, but a different pool. I don't care what your strategy is. It doesn't matter to me. As long as you adhere to 2 active quarterbacks on your roster. No more than that. 1, making it 3, can be in your IR if they are IR eligible. Not questionable. Not active.
Well, let me ask you.
Wait a minute. Just write it down. If you have an active player or a questionable player in that position, you will automatically lose. Automatically lose. If you pick up a player, quarterback, running back, receiver, I'm telling you the position, quarterback, running back, receiver, and you still have a player in IR that should not be in IR, you will lose your free agent money and you will lose that week. I do not care if the team has not redesignated the player. You will have to drop the player or put the player on your active roster. No exceptions.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Can I finish my rules before? Didn't I say write them down? I'm trying to finish my rules, guy. Once I finish my rules, I'll open it up to you with your questions. It's too easy. Again, 4 active running backs only. Same rule for quarterbacks apply. 6 active receivers only. Same rules apply. You are allowed to have as many other positions as you want that will fill your roster. If you want 2, 10, 5 defenses, that is fine. If you want to load up on defensive players, that is fine. No more than 6 active wide receivers. No more than 4 active running backs. No more than 2. Penalties of these are loss of free agent money, and you will automatically lose that week. I don't care what your final score is, you will receive a 0. This happens on Wednesday when free agents have been bought or whatever. If you go into the week, Monday and Tuesday, if Tuesday shows the player no longer IR eligible, that player needs to be moved out of the IR spot on Tuesday. Period. What is IR eligible? Anybody that's NA, anybody that's IR, anybody designated IR to return, because it might change. But suspended players are not IR eligible. I repeat, suspended players are not IR eligible. It was one more thing. Reseeding. I will not. Well, Yahoo automatically reseeds teams throughout the playoffs and who they play. So I am considering sticking with highest versus lowest seeds. So it's only one division. Previously, it was division winners had preference over whatever, but that's not going to be the case this upcoming year. I think that's it for now. But what are your questions, Jerry?
I ain't got no questions now. You answer them. I'm not worried about it.
That's why I said hold on. That's because I might answer something if you just be patient. All right.
I'm winning again, so I'm not worried about it. So
you're not making the playoffs.
That's what you said last season.
You shouldn't. If it was not for divisional winners getting in, you never would have made it.
Let me tell you something, brother. I don't believe
one of the worst records.
I believe in coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Barely 500.
I believe in. I receive in results. Yeah, I can talk. You know why I can talk? You know why I can talk? Nick,
I know.
Remember that.
I ain't got to look at that. It ain't sitting here with me right now. It will be. It will be. Once again. But anyway, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in for the last 2 hours, working with us and being here with me. Next week's the Super Bowl. Next week's the Super Bowl. So next week's show is going to be Super Bowl discussions and the feedback from the NFL Honors Awards. Was either one of us right on any of them? And if not, what do we think, or what do I think about the person that actually won? You have something you want to say?
You didn't talk about Justin Tucker.
Again, you weren't here. Yes, I did.
Okay, no problem. I didn't catch it. I had technical issues, and I'm trying to get on board as quick as possible. And this, quite naturally, you see, I had to resort to this.
Yeah, I mean, if you said, did you talk about Justin Tucker versus you didn't talk about Justin Tucker, I probably wouldn't have been so sharp. But again, there we go. I can ask your opinion on it if you want, but it's Deshaun Watson all over again. And my suggestion to Justin was, now that you're engaged, because all this stuff came out a day after you announced your engagement, get a private masseuse and take them with you, because your leg is your moneymaker. And if you have a masseuse that does that and you get those kind of funny feelings when that's going on, then y'all need to have understanding. But take your masseuse with you everywhere. New allegations came up today, so it's just going to be Watson all over again. But as I said earlier, Baltimore's going to stand beside him. The team's going to stand beside him. And until there's proof, I mean, I'm going to stand beside him. But like I said that like early on in the show. People are going to do things. People are not going to do things.
God, really?
You can't control what they're going to do.
Is that the way you're going to roll with that? Really? Okay.
I'm going to say, again, learning from what happened with Watson, until I get the facts, I'm not going to lay full blame or cast blame.
He got banned. He got banned. He got banned with
Watson.
He got banned.
There's evidence There's also his payoffs. So evidence, payoffs, yeah, I'm a lean toward him being a scumbag. Tucker, until I see evidence, I'm not gonna label him that. That's just me. But with that being said, I'm about to get out of here and go get some stuff for the house and get ready for the Royal Rumble. You got anything else? Don't get COVID on my trophy.
It's not your trophy. It's my trophy. Hello.
Excuse me.
Peace.
I am the commissioner. I bought it.
Peace, people. Enjoy your weekend.
I appreciate everybody tuning in, and thank my guest, Mr. Taylor, for coming on. And he had a 50-50 day, y'all. He had a 50-50 day. He's ending it on a bad note, but it's okay. I'll see y'all next week.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Get ready to rumble! You want to talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?